Hello and welcome back to my channel, High Tunnel and Field Production of Tomatoes. Today is March the 4th, 2021. Last week I talked to you a little bit about doing some soil sampling, one of the most important things that I believe you can do. And let me ask you this, if you were going on a trip, say from Arkansas to Canada, you would most likely need a map. This is before the days of GPS. You would need a map to know where you're going. You want to know where you're going to end up at. That is what a soil sample is all about. You need to know how to start in order to get where you want to be, which is a nice ripe tomato. So here is a soil sample box. You can't hardly see much about this. You get these from your county agent. They're free, the service is free. And let me show you how I take a sample. This is a cheap soil sampler I bought 20 years ago. They're a little bit more now. And you just plunge it in the ground. You want to get your sample from the top 6 inches of the soil. That would be your topsoil. And I just take my finger and push that little plug out, grab it, throw it in a box. Most of the time I'll go ahead and put all my samples in here, fill it up, make sure you got a full sample. I take it into my shed or greenhouse, I'll put it on a piece of newspaper, let it get dry, crumble it up, and then put it back in your box. They want it dry so they don't have to ship wet weight, and then they will send it off to the lab. And so that's exactly how you want to do that thing. They'll usually get it back in maybe 6 weeks or sometimes 2 weeks, sometimes 1 week, but you still got time to do it. And I've got a cousin out in Tennessee who's probably going to watch this. Her name's Stephanie. I want her to take a soil sample. I bet she's never done that. So you want to know what's in your soil. Now, I just got my samples back, and I think you can see this a little bit. You'll notice the green barcodes on it, and I'm going to explain it to you. That's what I'm doing this week. This says here at the top, you see the green. I'm in the slightly acidic range. 6.6 is my pH. That's perfect for tomatoes. I've also got my phosphorus level here. Now this says very low, low, medium, optimum, and above optimum. And on my phosphorus, I'm above optimum this year. My phosphorus is medium, my zinc is fine. I'm at optimum zinc. Believe it or not, zinc is very important. It gives you your range of sulfate, calcium, magnesium, iron, manganese, copper, boron, and then a nitrate level. And down here it gives you instructions. Now here's what I've got to do on my, this is for my tunnel. Here's what I have to do. I have to figure this on percentages. This rate they're going to give me is for pounds per acre. This is their suggestion. So my tunnel is 84 by 30. That is 2,520 square feet. That winds up being 6% roughly of an acre. If you figure 44,000 square feet in an acre is 210 by 210. So this says right here that I need 120 pounds of nitrogen per acre. Well, I'm not raising an acre. I'm raising 6% of that. 6% of 120 pounds would be 7.2 pounds of nitrogen. Now that's in actual nitrogen. That is not formulated like in granular fertilizer, triple 13, triple 17, whatever. This is the actual pounds of nitrogen I need. Now if I want to apply this with ammonia nitrate, that's the source I want to do. So these instructions say down here, apply nitrogen in 3 split applications, incorporate 1/2 pre-plant. That's what I'm going to do. 1/2 at flowering and 1/4 at flowering and 1/4 3 weeks later. Now I'm going to do the pre-plant because I do water soluble. And I want to do that with a different formula. But right now for my nitrogen, I need 23 pounds of ammonia nitrate. I will go ahead and dish that in before I make my beds. I raise my tomatoes on plastic. And so I will go ahead and make my beds and incorporate that and get everything ready. Normally nitrogen like this will last you about 30 days. That's why they say come back at flowering. It takes about 30 days for a plant to flower. You may see, once you transplant, you may see some flower buds in a week. And then you'll notice every week for 30 days that you'll see more and more, but you'll finally start seeing your beginning flower buds. That is when you're going to need your other ingredients. Now, for a lot of you, you may want to go ahead and put your, if you need phosphorus and potassium, you may want to go ahead and pre-plant that too. That's okay. But since I know my system, I'm going to do mine a little bit different. So I am going to, this year, since I don't need any phosphorus whatsoever, I'm going to use potassium nitrate. This is a greenhouse grade. Potassium nitrate is 46% potassium, 13.7% nitrogen. Now, I've normally, in years past, like last year I used a 20-10-20. I really didn't need much phosphorus either. And so I was applying 2 pounds of 20-10-20 per week and got great results. So I want to duplicate that this year. And in order to get those same results this year, though, I don't need any phosphorus whatsoever. Now, I've been taught that you need equal amounts of potassium and nitrogen. And tomatoes are really, they're pretty heavy feeders. I mean, they like to grow. Mine will get up and go. You just cannot imagine how fast they grow. So to keep that growth steady, they call it spoon feeding. Giving them a little bit every week is what I like to do, and it's not very much. So you don't want to see a massive flush like you would if you just put 2 or 3 applications a year. I want that really steady growth. So this year for me, if I apply, as I did last year, the 2 pounds rate of fertilizer through my drip irrigation every week, I will need 1 pound of potassium nitrate, and I'll need 9 ounces of urea. Urea, I think, is 46% nitrogen. That's high nitrogen. You can burn a plant up with that stuff. So you want to give it just a little bit every week, and that is going to get me the best results for me this year. I will show you later the drip irrigation system I use. I'm going to give you complete details on this. So just this week, I really just wanted us to go over soil samplings. Go ahead and get that thing in, and I want you to realize that how important these nutrients are. You may get a report back when you're in my garden, my vegetable garden. I got a report back that I needed zinc. Now, for most of you, zinc is something you're not ever going to need, but the year that I wound up needing zinc, I bought some zinc sulfate. I went in there, and I think for my garden's 1/4 acre garden, I think I put 8 pounds, and I distributed it very evenly. Wound up being the best garden I've ever had. This year, my blueberries, and I've never had this in the 30 years I've been growing blueberries, it shows my zinc to be very low. Now, blueberries don't use very much zinc at all. So I went and bought some zinc sulfate, and I am going to put some out. I need 6 pounds per acre. That is really hard to distribute, so I'm going to do my best to make it water soluble. I'll put it in a spray rig, and I'll calibrate, and I'll go through there, and I'll spray this on the ground, not on the plants. I'll spray it on the ground to get a nice even layer. And I just believe plants have to have everything they need. That is what a soil test is all about. Knowing what's in your soil. Give them enough, but don't give them too much. I know one fellow who planted blueberries in an area that he had planted, but he planted blueberries in an area that he had put chicken litter for years. They had a poultry business. He had just got rid of a lot of litter there, had to put it someplace. Wound up being way too high in his phosphorus. Chicken litter is very high in phosphorus. And he got it so high, and he didn't do his soil test, he didn't do his research. When he planted them, they just stymied. They sat there and just would not hardly grow. So you don't want that in tomatoes. Tomatoes is a very short season. You want the very best you can do. So start off right, get you a soil sample. Next week, I think we're going to talk about some varieties and probably some fungicides, since it's really too early for me to set plants out yet. And I'm going to go down there and very soon start giving you some more detail. I'll do some videos on the tunnel and my setup and everything. So, hey, I appreciate you watching. Hit the subscribe button if you want to follow this so you can get the weekly updates on this. And if you got questions, let me know what you're interested in. Okay? Thanks a lot. I'll see you next week. Bye.